Barcelona produced yet another remontada.
Remontada.
On Saturday night against Celta. I mean, what a crazy game.
Crazy game. They were 3-1 down because their high line, I mean, super defensive high line.
Which could cost them in the Champions League.
Could cost them, you're right. They kept being punished on it. And to be fair, Celta could have scored more goals. 3-1 down. And yet they still come back and win 4-3. Okay, maybe the penalty to win it in 98 minutes, a little bit dodge. But Rafinha takes it, scores. That's also what makes you champions, right? I know it's still a 4-point gap because we talk about later, Real Madrid also won. But that's a massive win when you think, okay, maybe they dropped points here, but they didn't. So
I mean, they played an incredible high line. I mean, the third goal, they were in their own half. Sorry, in the opposition half.
Yeah. And Borja Iglesias, he's just
ran from his own half.
Yeah, from his own half. It's
mad. There's a high line.
Yeah, I know. This is Ange Postecoglou-esque.
Back to Barca, despite their win, they also suffered a massive blow. Lewandowski got injured.
Yeah, and that's bad. And he hold his hamstring, you know.
Was it hamstring?
You've been there before, I'm sure.
Well, injuries, but not hammies. I was never that quick.
Oh, really? It's just because you had such a strong upper body that your hamstring never suffered. And when you see him like that, you think, okay, let's hope he's just the start, like a grade 1.
Yeah.
And it looks like 3 weeks. Yeah, and that's not good. He will miss the cup final at the weekend against Real Madrid on Saturday.
Champions League semi?
For first leg, guaranteed, I think. Second leg, maybe there's a chance. But, I mean, it's not so much that he's been in great form and he's so good for this team because he scores, but also he drops and links everything up. It's also done that they don't really have a proper replacement.
That's what I was going to say.
Ferran Torres is the guy, but he's not really different. Number 9. Yeah, different profile, probably more of a wide player. So I guess Dani Olmo can play there, but again, not the same kind of profile than Lewandowski. And I'm not sure. He's been such a big part of this, making this team special, that without him, it won't be the same. Cardiff have sacked their manager, Omer Ritza, Don, and they've gone in a surprising way to replace him.
Aaron Ramsey.
I know, man.
I think it's worth a shout, isn't it?
When is the last time we've had a player-manager in the Premier League or in the Championship?
Unbelievable question.
Like Ruud Gullit or something like that. Well,
Glenn Hoddle. Kenny Dalglish. I think probably tipping point was when Omer Ritza, who I played with, by the way, at West Ham. He was a very, very young boy coming through the ranks there.
I didn't know this.
He was a centre-forward.
Yeah.
He called the fans clueless.
Yeah.
Once you go down that route, there's sort of, and by the way, they're in the bottom 3 looking at it going down. Yeah. So hopefully Aaron Ramsey can cut his teeth and hopefully he might have the ears of the dressing room and have the respect of the dressing room.
What you talked about earlier, you know, with
Trevor Brooking?
Yeah, Glenn Waller, Trevor Brooking. We talked about Tyndall and how. Do you think this could work? A player, or player who comes out of who's your teammate and then suddenly becomes also your boss, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it could. I think because the players will obviously respect Aaron Ramsey for what he's done, respect the player. They've obviously played with him. They'll have been inside the dressing room with him, so they'll understand his character. He's probably not going to go and nail anyone.
Yeah,
That's probably not going to be his style.
Yeah.
So straight away, his probably biggest decision if he's fit is does he play himself or not?
Yeah,
that's probably the hardest call for a player manager. But I think sometimes that can be a smart move. I don't think you see it enough. Because players have got the respect, they know the dressing room, they know how to handle teammates, they're with them every single day.
He was a leader, I guess, over there.
If I'm playing with you and you're in my dressing room, I know to put an arm around you to get the best out of you, maybe vice versa. So I think from Cardiff's point of view, it might be a bit of a smart move.
Yeah, definitely.
They need something. And then sad news on Sunday, Jules, with the passing of legendary goalkeeper Hugo Gatti.
Yeah, the Argentine. Really sad. I mean, he was 80, I think. Boca Junior legend, absolute legend. Won 2 Copa Libertadores, so the Champions League of South America. 3 titles, I think. Played for Argentina. Maybe not as much as he should have because he was an amazing goalkeeper. Maybe like almost a pioneer because he came out of his box.
Oh, really?
Could play, was really good technically. Missed out on the 78 World Cup that Argentina won on home soil too. I think he only had 18 caps. But great character, the hair, the headband, like just the style.
Have you seen a picture? It'd be iconic.
Exactly, so iconic. So really, I mean, we send all our condolences to his family, to all the Boca Juniors fan, of course.
Luis Enrique rotated the PSG team that won on Saturday, Jules, a step closer to invincibility.
Yeah, and I guess, again, for them, preparing for that big Arsenal semi-final ties. Loads of the kids, Mayulu, who's 18, Mbaye, who's 17, started that game against Le Havre at the Parc des Princes. I think even with a full B team, they would have won anyway. But it was good.
PSG done that before? Been invincible?
No, nobody in France. Yeah.
Never.
So 4 more games. 4 more games, I think now. 4 or 5 games left. They have one on Tuesday night against Nantes at home, away, sorry. Then they play Nice at home on Friday before the Arsenal game, the following midweek, obviously. And they believe. I know.
Why wouldn't they?
I know, they should. They've been outstanding. And even when he rotates and even when the kids are playing or the kind of reserve players are playing, it's still working. So good for them. Really good momentum.
Kylian Mbappe was suspended against Bilbao. How did they look without him, Jules?
It was a bit of a tricky game because Athletic Club have been so good this season, and going to the Bernabeu after the disastrous performance against Arsenal, of course, and all the criticism. I think Carlo Ancelotti is going to leave the end of the season. I'm not even sure if he will finish the season after the cup final on Saturday. It was a little bit better, I would say. So it was a kind of a diamond midfield with Bellingham behind Vinicius and Rodrigo, and then 3 more defensive-minded midfielders.
So Vinny played as a false 9?
He played as a kind of a 9 up front with Rodrigo, but with quite freedom to play along the whole front line, basically.
Yeah.
They won it in the 92nd minute with an incredible goal by Fede Valverde, who is one of the most underrated players, I think, 100%. In the whole world. I don't understand. For me, it would be like top of my list if I was any club trying to get him.
I watch him, and I don't feel ashamed in comparing. He reminds me everything about him. His running style, his technique, his power, his aggression, how good of a ball striker he is, the goals that he gets. He's a clone of Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, I mean, I could not agree more, man. I think he's incredible. Yeah. He's incredible.
And that's some high praise, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Don, I'm with you. And save them, because if had they drawn that game, Barca would have been gone for the title.
I'm no manager, and you obviously know Kylian, and you've watched him for many, many years. And I heard you talking about the Champions League performances against Arsenal. I don't know whether I look at Real Madrid and think this is a very easy fix that Ancelotti can't see. And I think it's Kylian off the left.
Yeah.
And I think it's
signing number 9.
Vinny off the right and signing number 9.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's
get rid
easy.
of one of them. Because they can't play Rodrigo, Vinicius.
You'd sell Rodrigo, play Vinny on the right. Play Kylian in his best position off the left.
Yeah.
Buy number 9.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard.
I know, but you still have to find that balance in midfield.
True.
That you don't really have.
Jules, big weekend of Women's Champions League football.
Yeah, it was the semi-final, Don. We had a really good game, I thought, on Saturday between Arsenal and Lyon. Lyon won. Lyon are so good. They're so strong. They're so physical. They've got pace up front. They've got everything. But Arsenal are still in the tie. And then we had Barcelona against Chelsea, and I didn't see this one coming. Wow. And Barca literally destroyed Chelsea in Catalonia. 4-1. I'm not sure how you come back from that. I don't think so.
Bonkers game in Lyon at the weekend. What was the story there? What happened?
Saint-Etienne-Lyon, the Rhone derby, as you know, always quite electric, always quite hectic. This one maybe more than ever. Saint-Etienne were in the second division last season, so going back up, this is the first derby they had for a few years now. It started well for Saint-Etienne, scoring first after 10 minutes. Lyon, obviously, on the back of that incredible defeat at Old Trafford on Thursday night.
That game was done at 4-2.
Oh my God, I felt for them and their fans. I was there, Don. It was incredible. One of the
the players celebrated when Lacazette scored the pen. The players celebrated like it was done.
I know.
And I was working on a game like you. And it was done. It was finished.
Yeah.
But man, you got the penalty back within a minute.
Yeah. And then Maguire to score the winner. There were 2. I don't know if you saw. I put it on social media, but there's 2 Saint-Etienne fans at the game last night. One had a number 4 on his shirt, the other one number 5, and one had Merci and the other one Maguire. And you can't do more trolling than that if you're Saint-Etienne fans against Lyon. Saint-Etienne go in front, then they have a player sent off for stamping on Tolisso's ankle. The ref then is asked by VR to go and review it. You don't know why.
Which is quite ironic because
it's the Davis on Saka, the same one.
But it's quite ironic that Tolisso got sent off for never a second yellow.
I know, exactly. The referee then changes his mind, go from red to yellow. It's exactly the same as Davis on Saka in the Arsenal game. It was a red every day. Changes that. The guy who scored the goal was the one who was sent off. He scored the second goal for Saint-Etienne in the second half.
Oh, my days.
And they ended up winning 2-1. So chaos. And in the middle of all of that done, just before the break, Saint-Etienne fans, because there was no Lyon fans, away fans were not allowed to travel. Saint-Etienne fan threw a cone on the linesman who got hit on the head. Game is suspended for 45 minutes. Almost could have been abandoned because of the stupidity of one of the home fans who are leading in this game, by the way. Yeah. In the end, the second half happens. Saint-Etienne wins it. There will be repercussions, of course. I think there might be dog points and stuff. But what a crazy night in Saint-Etienne.
So what happened in Germany? Union Berlin and Stuttgart made history.
Yeah, on Saturday down. It was the latest game for them. And a game that maybe you thought, okay, I'm not going to watch. Maybe Stuttgart, a great team to watch. Super entertaining. Probably too open.
Fantastic manager.
Yeah, great manager. Great young teams. Great young players. Great overall. But with them, you could be in for a treat of a game. And that didn't disappoint. Certainly the first half done. They were 4-4 at halftime.
8 goals.
8 goals in the first so the first goal was 5th minute. Illich scored, and then the 8th goal was 45 plus 2, I think, or something like that. So between 5th and 47.
So about 40 minutes.
8 goals in there. It was literally, there was no defending.
No.
You can just imagine. There were spaces everywhere. One end to the other.
I'm
It was amazing.
I'm going to have to look at the
Yeah, you
dynamic
have
of
to
the
watch.
game in terms of, was it 1-0, 1-1-2, 1-3,
And
1-4?
if you have 45 minutes of in your day or at some point in the week, just watch the first half. Second
That's
half,
it.
no goals.
Zero.
But the first half, the expected goals combined for the two teams was less than 2, and they scored 8 goals. There were bangers from everywhere. It was amazing.
So the XG less than 2, and there was 8 goals.
8 goals. It tells you, it was amazing. You have to watch between 5th, put it on 5th minute, and all the way to halftime. It was a treat. And the Bundesliga had never seen 8 goals in the first half of any of their games.
Madness.
So absolutely madness. Then on Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember when it was, West Ham could only draw against Southampton 1-1 at the London Stadium. That was not the best thing in the game because it was a poor game. The best thing, I guess, was the Niklas Füllkrug rant after full time.
I like it. We can't say the words. Oh, my pen's gone. We can't say the words that he said, but fair play to him.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. He called it out. Said the mentality's poor, paraphrasing. Attitude was poor, paraphrasing. I just don't know what's going on because I commentated on the game the week before when they got beat at Anfield.
Yeah.
And it was
They were
so
good.
good.
Yeah, I know.
Paquetá was amazing. It was so good. I think from the West Ham fans' point of view, just going off the back of what Füllkrug's saying, I think Graham Potter's tried to overcomplicate things because it's a very easy fix.
Yeah.
Play Füllkrug through the middle. He's a number 9. Stop with the Jared Bowen experiment. Many have tried. He's not a centre forward. Play Bowen off the right and play Kudus off the left.
Yeah.
And play Paquetá as a number 10.
Yeah.
It's simple.
I know. I
right?
agree.
And I think he's frustrated that he's had an injury. It's took him a while to come back. Now he's been back fit. Apart from this game, he's not started too many games.
Yeah. Give the assist for Bowen.
And he's just called it out. He's just said, listen, it's rubbish.
I know.
And I don't mind it because, you have some games in the Premier League where you say, well, the Premier League's a bit unpredictable, but you're playing Southampton.
I know.
Come on, with a goal difference of minus 60.
Relegated
already
as well.
gone.
Does it say something about this squad, Don, that is him who's been there 2 minutes?
Graham Potter.
No, Füllkrug. To say that when maybe the leaders didn't say anything, really. I haven't heard Bowen saying that. I haven't heard...
But he's probably not a leader. He's probably not vocal.
I don't know, even a Suchek. I don't know who really the leaders are. Even a Paquetá. I don't know who else.
That may be part of the problem, Jules. A great point that you bring up. Who is actually, in terms of Ødegaard's a playing leader, isn't he?
Yeah.
But West Ham have got plenty playing leaders like Paquetá and like Bowen and like Kudus. But who's verbal?
Yeah.
Who's the one that's dragging them around the training ground to say, listen, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
The way we walked around training. That's not acceptable that we can't raise a game.
You switched off in a game like this.
And then it's not acceptable how you can turn it on at Anfield, even though you might say Liverpool dropped down a gear, whatever. But then you put in that performance a few days later against Southampton. So actually, that's a fascinating point that you raise. Who's the verbal leaders at West Ham?
Yeah.
And my guess is, Jules, there ain't many.
Not many, yeah. Or Füllkrug now, for sure.
Yeah, there ain't many. Where are we next, Jules? Sorry.
We're at 16. Inter and Napoli.
Okay. Jules, Napoli-Inter, level on points after the last game of the season. Could it happen?
Well, that's the good question, Don. So currently they are level because
71 each.
Scott McTominay won it again for Napoli.
McSauce is at it again.
What a season he's had.
2 man of the matches in a row.
Incredible. They won at Monza on Saturday. And then on Sunday, what happened? Inter go to Bologna, which is a tricky game. Don't play well. No Marcus Thuram was injured. Inter lose to Bologna. Lovely goal by Orsolini.
Brilliant.
A hell of a player.
What a volley.
I know, coming off the bench as well. Great kind of scissor kick. And now we have Inter and Napoli on 71 points.
Yep.
So great title race in Italy. Wonderful. I don't know who's your money on right now. Who would you say?
Well, it was Inter, and I still think they've got the best squad.
They have, I
But
agree.
I mean, Antonio Conte's proven with the players that he scored. When you look player for player, squad for squad, Inter should be a million points clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shows you how good of a job Conte's done to have them in a race.
And Inter has the 2 semi-final Champions League. Semi-final of the Champions League.
So this doesn't go on goal difference. This goes on a head-to-head. They drew both games 1-1.
Yeah. And now, so if they level on points after the last week of the season, it will be a final. I know, which is something that Italy have had like really long time ago, start of the 20th century. If there were two teams level on point at the end of the season, they would face in a playoff final.
Two-legged playoff, maybe?
No, so one-legged at a time. It would be the team with the highest goal difference that will host.
Right.
So currently Inter have a way better goal difference than Napoli.
15, 16
so it will
goals,
be at San Siro if it stays like this. You would have 90 minutes, no extra time, straight to pens if after 90 minutes you are drawing.
Wow.
Which I think would make it super exciting. Maybe a little bit electric.
I think it should happen more.
I know you. I think every league should do that,
Every league
right?
should do it, right? Yeah.
Because imagine the season where City, obviously the Aguero goal.
Yeah.
That's on goal difference. They win that.
Exactly.
Imagine if we had a City United playoff final for the title. Oh my God!
Guys, stop it, Jules.
That would have been amazing.
Let's make it happen.
I know. I want Napoli and Inter drawing being level on point at the end of the season.
Because we believe, I think this happened in 2023 when
for relegation. Yeah, they have the same for relegation.
Yeah,
exactly.
I believe that was over 2 legs. I might be wrong.
I think so too. I think so too.
I think we should start a campaign.
I know.
All across Europe.
I know. All the leagues. Playoffs. No goal difference or no head-to-heads. Nothing like that.
Money.
Just boom.
Attendances, money to charity.
I know. Yeah, perfect.
Everyone's a winner.
I love that, man.
Let's make it happen.
I love that. Well, we're staying Serie A, Don, because you did the commentary last night on Sunday night. Great commentary of the Atalanta-Milan game with a huge win for La Dea. And so what did you make of the game first? And then there's a couple of players that we need to talk about.
Yeah, so this was at San Siro. So
San Siro, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So both teams coming off the back of a win. Conceição, Milan's changed the system, which is controversial. So the last couple of games, they won against Udinese the week before, 4-0, cruised the game, but he went to 3 at the back.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the reason why he's gone 3 at the back is to try and get the best out of Leao.
Yeah, because he never played 3 at the back before Porto either.
Many have tried. Pioli tried it, obviously not 3 at the back, but trying to get the best out of Rafa Leao. He's a player that infuriates me because I love him so much because of the talent, but he doesn't work hard enough.
Yeah.
So Fonseca tried it, different system, not different system, I say this very loosely, but trying to get the best.
Yeah.
This way, Conceição is trying to play 3 at the back, trying to play Theo Hernandez as a left wing back, a free role for Rafa Leao.
And also mirroring what Atalanta
exactly.
system
So the game plan was both teams playing exactly the same system. So it was never going to lend itself to a 4-0 or a 4-3. It was always going to be man for man. And Atalanta, they were coming off the back of a win who I think had lost 3 games before that. Gasperini just showed how much of a genius he was because the game was drifting. Then he made changes. Bellanova was by far my best player.
I love him
again, and what a player. And he played as a right-sided centre-back, but then he pushed him as a right wing-back. He got the assist for Ederson's goal. So it was a cagey sort of game, but a great game to watch because it was fascinating because of the tactics. But Milan now have left themselves scrambling for any sort of European football, which is... Champions League is not going to happen, but they've got to try and finish in a conference place.
Yeah,
Conceição
is going to go,
so he's not going to stay. So off the back of sacking Fonseca, Conceição is going to go. So that's another hole to try and
to fill
the top manager. So it probably underestimates the job that Pioli done. In winning trophies there, but Milan just look a shadow. And many Milan fans are saying this is one of the worst Milan squads of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
So great win for Atalanta.
And you talk about Leao, Joao Felix, also
and Pulisic.
Pulisic at least has been good for last season.
His numbers have been good, but how do you play the 3 of them in the same team? You can't.
Probably can't. But what do you do with Joao Felix? I mean, he's going to go back to Chelsea.
Go back to Chelsea.
Milan. What are Chelsea going to do with him? What a waste of a talent.
I really feel for him. It's a fascinating discussion point because you can go round the houses and go round in circle when you talk Joao Felix. In my opinion, you should never have went to Atletico Madrid to play under Simeone. A more forward-thinking manager would have suited his style, would have suited his career. But then when you look at the player and say, well, what actually has he done? He's never had more than 10 goals in his career in one season. He's never had more than 10 assists in one season. So you can blame the managers as much as you want, but the player's got to do more. So he then's going to go back.
For sure.
So he then is going to go back to Chelsea, who don't want him. So they're going to have to potentially sell him to someone in Europe or Saudi. Milan have got a problem with Leao, so they're going to be hoping that a Saudi team comes in to play. I don't know, 60, 70, 80 million quid for him, so they can try and rebuild. But with Chukwueze there, talented player, and Pulisic, talented player, Leao,
Tammy,
Felix,
they've got.
The the squad sort of on paper is something
Yeah,
there
even
for a manager
Jimenez.
to work with.
Yeah.
But my God, many have tried over the last 2 or 3 years, and they're not getting the job done. So I put this all down to the player.
I can hear you.
They've got to start doing a lot more, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's a great shame. Talking Atletico Madrid, they're definitely out of the title race. Gone, finished.
Well, they lost to Las Palmas on Sunday, 1-0. I mean, to lose to Las Palmas, Oli McBurney, Las Palmas, by the way, who had been really fighting against relegation for most of the season, is pretty bad. The fact is, so now they're 10 points behind Barcelona, so they can't win the title. They're 6 points behind Real Madrid, and they just haven't been good enough lately. Since that heartbreak, and I know it's heartbreaking to be knocked out by Real Madrid on penalties in the Champions League. Last 16 with the Julian Alvarez penalty, all the controversy, etc.
So is that a case of them rebuilding or keeping the likes of Julian Alvarez, who's been linked with Liverpool, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, they bought him for 80 million, so whoever wants to buy him
100
will have to pay, over 100. So I don't know. I think they want to keep Griezmann, for example, who's been the shadow of himself for the last 2 months after being so great for most of the first part of the season. I think they're happy with their squad. I think it's a good squad. I think it's a Simeone squad, which is the most important here. He's got the players to fit his philosophy and everything. I think that game against Real Madrid just knocked something out of them, really. And they haven't been the same since, really. And it's a real shame because they will finish probably 10, 12, 15 points behind Barcelona. And that's not the gap they should have been.
No,
it should
doesn't
have
feel
been
that way, does it?
Exactly. They're much closer. And maybe that's on Simeone to not have him find the resources after that, because they lost that game and then they lost against, I think, Barcelona in the league or something like that. And that finished them, really. So, I don't know, it's a shame, but just not good enough right now. Bayern won easily at Heidenheim and are 8 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga because Leverkusen could not beat St. Pauli down. But more than that, the title race is gone now. Bayern is Bayern to be. It will be Harry Kane's first trophy.
Good on him.
Amazing, good on him. More importantly, he scored again at the weekend, making it 60 goals in 60 Bundesliga games.
Prolific.
Just for you to have an idea, Haaland scored 60 in 65 games in the Bundesliga.
Prolific, isn't he? And he's always been that way. I mean, there was no danger he was going to go there and score goals. I mean, 60 and 60 is an unbelievable record.
Incredible.
I mean, honestly, you go back to when I played, 1 and 2 was the number.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
Messi and Ronaldo ripped that up, and Lewandowski and the likes of Haaland and now Harry Kane are getting a goal a game. It's nuts. So I'm glad that he's gone there. I'm glad that he's going to go and win a title. Vincent Kompany deserves a lot of credit at the same time. So the job that they've done is phenomenal. I hope he stays. Another player that's been linked with Liverpool and coming back to the Premier League, but I hope Harry Kane stays for more titles, tries to win a Champions League. I think he deserves it because he's character on and off the pitch is just ultra reliable.
And you know what's amazing is he's not as fit as he used to be. I mean, he's going to be 32 years old anyway.
But he's never been like fit.
But
in like, like running around doing like 13K a game. It's not his game.
Physically. True. Yeah. But I forgot. Because you never lose that. I think I told you the story, but in the World Cup in Qatar, I played a football game with Ali Marcoist, who was in the other team.
Yeah.
And there was a few ex-pros. It was a lovely, lovely afternoon, lovely game. And Ali is 61, 62 years old, something like that, or it was at the time. He might be a bit older now. And you should have seen him. And the finishing.
So Roy Keane never took him out, or was he on the same side?
On the same team. He was with Roy.
Still should have took
Gary
him out.
Neville was in their team.
Who's the destroyer in your team? Can you remember?
I had Karen Carney, I think, in my team who was amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Karen Carney should have took. I'm gonna have a word with Kaz. She should have took Ali out.
Yeah, but every finish done
crisp.
One time. Oh my God! Top corner, bottom corner, top corner, bottom corner.
Isn't it amazing to see?
And he would never lose that. Of course, he can't run like he used to.
But isn't it amazing for you to play with it and see it firsthand?
Yeah, amazing.
And then you go, imagine taking 40 years of him.
Yeah, and I think Harry Kane at 60 or 61 or 62 or 65, whatever Ali is now, I expect him to be the same.
So the moral of the story is, when Harry Kane's working on TV with you, in 20 years' time, he'll still be scoring goals.
I'll tell you that in 20 years' time.
Let's talk Ranieri.
Oh,
what a job
yes,
he's done. Uncle Claudio, unbeaten in 17. From where they were, Jules, they're sniffing a Champions League spot.
Absolutely, Don. They're 3 points behind Bologna in fourth.
Yep.
They've been unbeaten, we said, since December 15th in the league. They lost in the Europa League. But okay.
Yeah.
But Claudio doing an incredible job. When you think where they were when he took over after that disastrous start of the season, for him to not just change the dynamic, everything, but just change the whole mindset and everything. And the style.
I mean, Juric was so boring and pedestrian.
God, I mean, I would have kept De Rossi, I think, for a bit longer, to be fair. That was a mistake. Juric was definitely the wrong appointment. We talked about Van Nistelrooy before.
But Ranieri gets it, doesn't he? He's been a Romanista.
Yeah, absolutely. Third stint or fourth stint
third time
in there.
Gets the club, the fans love him.
If he gets them into the top 4, because the top 5 will be for England and for Spain. We know that for sure. So it would have to be top 4 in Italy. And they have a few teams, obviously. Juventus still in the mix. Bologna, we said. Fiorentina still in the mix. Lazio still in the mix. Fiorentina and Lazio were supposed to play today on Easter Monday.
Yeah, so the top 3 are more or less guaranteed.
Yeah, top 3
Atalanta will make it.
Yeah, Atalanta will make it.
Napoli and Inter.
There won't be any games today on Easter Monday because the Pope, obviously Pope Francis, passed away this morning. Really sad news everywhere, but especially in Italy, of course. So Roma and Claudio will have to wait a little bit to see what Fiorentina and Juventus do this weekend. But it would be one of the achievements of not just this season in Europe, but of the last few years if Ranieri returns this.
I mean, it would be close to manager of the season, wouldn't it?
I agree.
Very, very close.
Absolutely. Incredible, Claudio.